of his, media house. And Peter, as a journalist, needed to understand that, those kind of generalizations were very unnecessary. But if he did not make any counter statement to it, he did not kind of redirect the interview, then he bears a responsibility. Responsibility one is his radio where this information was disseminated. Two, he was the interviewer. Now, if today he came out and said that people who were criticizing him are good for nothing, are useless people who are not even helpful to the people or to the ethnicity that they seek to be defending, and of course, these are, to say that, golo golo rekla, associating or ascribing those people to be destructive in nature and to be people who are probably at the same level of, golo golo rekla, dumusa by ig, and then you come down here to tell me, oh yeah, you are actually misinterpreting Peter. What do you understand that people don't? We cannot be pretentious, and we cannot continue to sideline some of these conversations in our societies. We got to talk about them, and we got to tell people that we got to stop this kind of things. You cannot say that. You can even say that people, they were insulting me. I don't appreciate that. Tell them whatever. But then you make another generalization that there were people that were genuinely criticizing Peter, even though other people might go to the extreme and tell him things that he might not want to hear. But why did they say that? Because something was said on his media house. And then coming here trying to justify that speaks more of you than actually the person you're listening to or the person you're trying to defend. There is nothing you can defend in this, because somebody sitting on his radio to consider people to be monkeys or to be equivalent to monkeys that will never stop, climbing because they're destructive in nature. But Peter was not making anything, actually. Him and those people, probably, I don't know who is better. So, we all got to look at. It's not because you belong to a particular ethnicity or you belong to another. Go, tonya mu tonya kilindron nadi. Olem fineka di jema dili dali. Albe tonya la fola ni manda tonya fola bojang. Angan dandi. You cannot actually try to justify whatever Peter said. What he said was wrong, and everybody got to tell him that he was wrong. And the people that told him he was wrong are not monkeys, and they are not useless. So Peter cannot call out people for calling him out. He could have just taken responsibility, swallowed the pill, and then, move on and say, this is the new thing, a new trend that I've started. I never expected it to go this way. If it went this way, I take some responsibility. And that is what Turo Dabo did, brought people and then do whatever. And then you are telling us that you're going to take credit that your own interview brought about those people reconciling. But of course, in that same media house is where everybody was insulted. And you don't want to take responsibility for that, but you want to take credit for the reconciliation. Listen to that. I thought this Koro was intelligent. For me to take credit of an interview that went so viral that there was so much, negative things that came out of it. But of course, it led to people reconciling. You accept and take responsibility and take ownership of the reconciliation. Praise yourself for it, but then went ahead and tried to castigate people who were more or less, holding you accountable for the actions or probably things that were said on your media house. So what exactly do we want to tell us? So on that note, I think, Peter definitely needs to be accountable for some of these things. If you own a media house and people go there to do these kind of things, in some countries, they will kind of shut down your media house because these are things that are not nice. Generalizations like that are not healthy. And even if Peter was not on the radio, just because the radio belongs to him, and even if somebody else was conducting that interview and failed to control the interview, Peter could have come out with basically a statement to say, West Coast Radio regret that this happened on our radio, and then we hope it will not happen again. What is better than that? If it is not ego to come out and tell people that, oh no, they're equivalent to, monkeys. That is not people's business. What is people's business? Look, Peter, amal solo. Man, I'm a business with what you think, what you don't think, what ethnicity you belong to. That is not my business. But what is important is that Peter lum wah jadu do look correct. Net boy don't boy wax dega na nga wax dega because do tok nga nan ñi ne golo du musa bay ek moy ne ñi ñu la doon wax ne goor lo def lolu jaadul nga ne ñooñu ngay wax ne golo du musa bay ek yow kan nga gën ci ñooñu kan mo ci nekk golo kan mo si munta defal bopam dara ñoy wax ne they are useless people simply because you own a radio. So owning a radio means you're being useful, or you think you are the most useful person who can do anything. You're using your radio in a way that is not appropriate. More so in recent times, You got to watch your back and then watch what you're doing, because what you're doing is not in the greater interest of, everybody in that country. You got to look at things that you're doing, and then you got to reevaluate yourself. Self-evaluation is important. Why is everybody talking about you? Sit back and listen to the interview again and realize that, is there a fault in this? How can we correct this? This is how a proprietor should behave. But coming out to lash out your anger, insulting more people, and then you have other people coming here to tell people, anyway, I'll catch you another time. I'm doing, man, among better, the way we get into, some of these things. And if you're a journalist, promptly intervene and, kind of stop those kind of things coming to the air. Gambia at the end of the day, mbe mo killing moro. Wala kumara. Wanda kilimba ya nalmala fi ofana njala den ka foko kasika mol jibe molbe mol nen natare. Momanda sonna moy wala jande. You cannot make generalization on an entire ethnicity and then you start telling other people, no, why bulen dugal yaay kele. Yo, if you make a generalization on an entire ethnicity, yaay kan nga fa bay. Bay lo man suma yaay. Bay lo yaay kenen. Legi nga na no bulen wo yaay kini. Why yo ko bu mo saga an entire ethnicity, yaay kan la fa bay. Mami kan la fa bay. Anybody that belongs to that line is insulted, is characterized, is kind of labeled as a tribalist. Man, I don't even go to concert, but sometimes I don't go to concert at all. Does that mean that, I am also another tribalist because you don't go to concerts? How about if let's say Jamaican artists come to Gambia, then no Gambians should go there because, do we share the same ethnicity? No. Music is love, just like football, just like association, just like politics. People vote for Barrow not because, Barrow is a good guy or is doing well for the country, but because he's the one they like. People don't vote for some other people because they don't like them. It's not because of ethnicity or whatever. So, man, if I don't feel your music, I don't go there. That doesn't mean that I'm an ethnicist or something. If I don't come to your show, doesn't mean because of a particular thing. Conduct and defend. So, but I understand that if you think you have the world in your palms, all of a sudden you look around, you don't see nothing, you will think that everybody within and around you is your enemy. Sometimes you lost grip of yourself and you think that everybody is after you. Or sometimes you lose your wealth, you think that even your family are all witches and wizards. But these are people who need help in society to rejuvenate and, of course, get back to their full potential. They make utterances that probably don't make much sense, but people need to understand that aside. Maybe because psychology is nothing of great relevance in our society. But these are things we need to consider. Deliberately, they just want to insult or castigate or generalize on everybody. But they need help. That's the moment to help. But that is why when I looked at it and listened, I was like, you know what? Don't hate. Help. This guy needs help because you cannot even make such generalizations if you are okay. But then for this guy to come out and further insult people, that is not right. That is not right. He needs to acknowledge that what happened and it was not right. It shouldn't repeat. And the fact is, if you look at it from, ethnic point of view, Peter doesn't love Manjagos more than I do. Probably I am one. Born and raised, probably. But Tonyamu killing it. Na nika puri putefri nija kuma koina jaya kijabanya kama ochata de to or generalize on everybody. But they need help. That's the moment to help. But that is why when I looked at it and listened, I was like, you know what? Don't hate. Help. This guy needs help because you cannot even make such generalizations if you are okay. But then for this guy to come out and further insult people, that is not right. That is not right. He needs to acknowledge that what happened and it was not right. It shouldn't repeat. And the fact is, if you look at it from, ethnic point of view, Peter doesn't love Manjagos more than I do. Probably I am one. Born and raised, probably. But Tonyamu killing it. Na nika puri putefri nija kuma koina jaya kijabanya kama ochata de to pai. Ojitandi yambane mtefi ngam lenti mprompri mantino anja ochata de to pai. Chidu ni kanjo mchuchata. Amba umdumpuri numpuja kama no neko jata kuma mchuchata. Uchimteni na nguchiru nyaka nanjo kuma ochata de to pai, ochata karuka kachuchata re. What exactly does that mean? Jari nyampule into kuma koi waje kijao. So achikoe mekom. uko jari rinja penyaka ja puni ku free public space kuru lente plane façon ko mundana na po citi ko lipute citi ko mi wara nyana jim purja ko mundana no dem di ka puri pute mbanya kuru karon ko bukul out of nothing. At the end of the day, if they come back at you, other people will just be silent because we do nongulo. Nya ka puri pubi ni tefru raju ko karabanya instead of people puni kijabu ko na jawin ko jarit ka puni kuru watasi karte ru ko mundana no kija ko manya ka ta pujoko. Aja uchinya chatiri tulon tuko ne bana nija kuma no ko na jen ko kata pijawol. No, it's not right. Gam gere fan daw torop. Ana nga domon. Nka go to alma ti do to dial alma to nya sabatla, you know. Yeah. Momam pitala ku mo twist janne. Ite kamimbe fo ja ite be fambatande dia America kana mo